His expertise is very important. It's just whether he really wants to be a part of a team. And he's kind of a loner, so we're having to woo him maybe a little bit.
There are a lot of fugitives that we could possibly expect in this new season. The hole has opened.
Yeah.
Will we see some fugitives that are of maybe the cosmic inspiration?
Probably. I mean, anything's up with this show. I mean, we got, name it, unicorns, dinosaurs. I mean, anything's possible. I think that's the great thing about Legends. It just, it just lends itself to that kind of anything's possible.
How many new fugitives do you think we'll see this season?
Oh my goodness, it might be, a fugitive per episode because they're going around trying to round them up, but they're not necessarily bad. They might just be misunderstood, so it's the Legends, challenging their own preconceived notions about what these fugitives are, and then we get to see, these fugitives are misplaced, so are displaced. So how are they feeling? And I think it's going to be that conflict is going to be pretty interesting. And Nora's a fugitive too, in a way, because she broke out of the time prison.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how Maisie's character comes back. Amaya, not as Amaya, but commingled with a magical creature. So she's sort of an example of it. And then there's going to be ones you're familiar with, sort of those archetypes from fairy tales that might be a little bit different than you think.
What's one thing about your character that we have to know?
She uses her powers not necessarily for the best, it's all for her. So she can be good, she can be bad, but it depends on what she wants. And her powers are extraordinary.
Do we know what those are?
I do, you don't. You'll have to watch. But it's good, it's really good. And I think the other Legends, she really challenges them. And they're going to have to decide whether they can trust her or not. And if they decide to trust her, should they trust her? I'm not so sure.
How is Constantine going to spice things up on the Wave Rider?
How does Constantine not spice things up? I love his character so much. I love working with him. As much as Ava hates him, he's such a tremendous actor, and he really commits, and he's just very talented. That's not an easy character to pull off. He has big, crazy jargon that, and he does it so well. So he's going to come in and ultimately shake things up with the Legends, sort of join forces in helping put all these supernatural, what are we calling them? Supernatural fugitives that we've unleashed. He's going to help them get them all back.
Well, I play a new character this season, Charlie, who is exactly who Constantine's trying to get rid of. She's a magical fugitive. So I think certainly for her and him, it's going to be a tough dynamic. And I think he's going to be the hardest one to win over to let Charlie stay. But I mean, every year there's new characters, and I think it's fantastic because the whole energy on the ship changes. And he is a sneaky, cheeky, fun, playful, powerful character. So I think that's going to really sort of shake the ship up a bit.
His expertise is very important. It's just whether he really wants to be a part of a team. And he's kind of a loner, so we're having to woo him maybe a little bit. And for Ray has no negative opinions of John. I think he's interested in the magical aspects. Since he's a man of science, he understands something you can explain. Magic is unexplainable, right? So I think Ray is intrigued by that and would like to figure out how to explain it. So that's a connection that I think they'll share.
John is John, wherever he goes, he brings his bag of tricks, but he also brings his baggage and his everything that he's been through. He always carrying this kind of the weight of the world on his shoulders. And what's great is being able to explore John's relationships with these characters in this context. Everything that I've read about John through all the comic books that I've read, there's all these different relationships which you can pull from the comic books. These are relationships that are being discovered for the first time, and that's probably the most exciting thing about it. And he always has his own motive, his own agenda, and as we know, he will sacrifice his best friend for the greater good. So you drop him in the middle of Legends of Tomorrow, and there's obviously going to be some interesting problems.
Can we talk about Bebo for just a moment?
Oh, sure.
I mean, there's so much to say. What were your reactions when you actually saw it happen?
Well, I read it on the page, and I was like, how are they going to do this? And then I saw it, and I was howling, screaming at the television. I couldn't picture what it ultimately ended up being. But yeah, it was incredible.
So Bebo was my stepkids, that's the one episode that I had them start with, was the Viking episode with Bebo and the All Hail Bebo. And we were laughing because they even thought it was absurd. But when you really think about it, if you had that doll show up somewhere in that time period and it started talking, they would think it was a god. So like it is justifiable. Cut to the finale and like bananas.
Do you think we'll see him come back to life?
I mean, he's a fan favorite, so I feel like in some capacity, somehow, some way, you know, the writers will make it happen.
I feel like he's a star of our show at this point. Yeah, I'm curious to see if he's going to come back too. We'll see about that. He's certainly a hit, so I feel like he's going to come back in some iteration, but that's not for sure. Yeah.
Okay. For more from San Diego Comic-Con, you better click right here in this box, and also please subscribe because we do things like this and dress up for you.